Help me reach 1,000 subscribes. Support the video with a like and leave your thoughts in the comments. I read every comment. Thanks. I never thought a single night could change the course of a marriage. I mean, you hear the cliches, everyone needs space, or take a night to clear your head, but you never truly grasp what that really means until it's happening to you. My name is Ethan, I'm 38, and I've been married to Claire for 14 years. I thought I knew her, really knew her. Outgoing, brilliant, a spark that lit every room she entered. And me? Steady, loyal, a man who did what needed to be done. Never asked for applause, just a quiet life filled with small victories. At least, that's what I thought. It started on a Tuesday evening. Claire came home later than usual from work, her coat hanging loosely on her shoulders, her hair disheveled in a way that suggested something had shaken her. She barely looked at me as she entered the living room. I was halfway through dinner. Just pasta, nothing fancy. But the smell filled the room, a testament to the life we had built together. She paused for a moment, sighed, and said, "Ethan, I think I need one night to clear my head." Her words were calm, almost casual, but they carried a weight I couldn't quite name. "Just one night," she repeated, and then left. That night, I sat alone at the table, the fork heavy in my hand, realizing for the first time that clarity could feel like a punch to the stomach. The next morning, I didn't bring it up. I thought maybe she had a stressful week or a deadline. But night after night, her one night became a pattern. She started spending evenings out, sometimes texting me vague explanations, sometimes none at all. The house, once filled with laughter, grew quieter. I tried to talk to her gently with a simple, "How was your day?" or "Do you want some tea?" But she'd smile politely, nod, and retreat to her phone or disappear into her office. Small gestures, nothing overtly cruel, yet the absence was deafening. I remember one evening in particular. I had arranged a simple dinner on the balcony, fairy lights strung up, 2 glasses of wine. I thought maybe a little calm, a little intimacy would bring her back. She came out for 5 minutes, barely tasting the food, standing awkwardly as if the balcony itself made her uncomfortable. I reached for her hand, a gesture I had used countless times over the years, hoping for some spark, some connection. She pulled back, a small shrug and a quiet, "I just need space, Ethan. Please." The words weren't harsh, not even sharp. They were flat like an empty room. And just like that, I felt a shift in the air, in her presence, in our lives. For weeks, I oscillated between confusion and disbelief. I told myself it was temporary, that the old spark would return, that this was just one of those seasons everyone talks about. I would leave little notes on the counter, "Miss you tonight," or "Hope your meeting went well." I even started cooking her favorite meals again, thinking it might remind her of US, of what we had. But it didn't. She wasn't angry. She wasn't cold. She was simply gone. In presence, yes, but in essence, absent. And then the whispers started, not actual whispers, but the small telltale signs. Friends mentioning they'd seen her at gatherings, out late, looking happier than usual. Claire, who had once shared her every thought with me, now returned home with excuses that never fully made sense. I questioned myself. Had I done something wrong? Did I miss a signal somewhere along the way? But deep down, I knew it wasn't just me. This wasn't about small mistakes or misunderstandings. Something fundamental had changed in her, in us. I tried one last attempt. A Saturday night, I planned a simple movie marathon. Popcorn, blankets, just the 2 of us. She arrived later than planned, her energy low but her phone buzzing constantly. I wanted to ask her to put it down, to focus on the moment, but I held back, silently hoping she would choose to stay present. An hour in, I reached for her shoulder gently and said, "Ethan, I just need one night, alone or with someone else." My chest tightened, my stomach dropped. I felt the room shrink. In that instant, I realized that one night she had mentioned wasn't a temporary escape. It had become an enduring pattern, a choice she made over and over. I went to bed that night alone, the bed cold on one side, sheets untouched, the weight of it pressed down on me. My mind raced, thinking about the years we had shared, the quiet routines, the laughter, the love, or what I thought was love. And I understood then. The story I had been telling myself about our marriage, about us, was no longer true. Claire wanted something I couldn't give her anymore, or perhaps she wanted something else entirely. And I had to confront it, whether I liked it or not. By the time the first week passed, I was no longer surprised by her absence. Each night she left, she stayed out, she didn't answer questions, didn't explain herself. And each night, I realized that the woman I married wasn't the woman who returned home. One night to clear her head had quietly, painfully, become every night. And in that realization, I began to see the faint outline of a decision I would have to make. But the clarity, the shock, and the suspense of what came next was only just beginning. The nights that followed blurred together, a strange mix of anger, confusion, and reluctant acceptance. Claire was out again, sometimes with friends, sometimes alone, sometimes with him. The him she never named, the shadow lurking in conversations she never included me in. I caught glimpses here and there, an unexpected text, a familiar laugh drifting down the street, a car that lingered too long outside our house. The reality hit me slowly, insidiously. She had moved on while I was still holding quiet corners of our shared life together. I tried to hold on to the remnants of what we had. I kept our routines, folding laundry, making coffee, watering the plants. I did it all silently, almost robotically. Friends asked why I didn't confront her, why I didn't demand answers. I would smile politely and say, she just needs space. But inside, a storm raged. I couldn't scream, couldn't fight. It wouldn't fix the void that had grown between us. Every night, her absence echoed louder than any word she could have said. Then came the evening that changed everything. I returned from work, mentally bracing myself for another empty night, only to find her in the living room, a suitcase by the door. She was quiet, deliberate, her expression unreadable. My chest tightened. This wasn't her usual casual departure. This was different. "Ethan," she said softly, almost hesitating, "I need to tell you something." I nodded, unsure whether I wanted to hear or not. I can't do this anymore," she continued. Her voice wavered slightly, a hint of vulnerability beneath the calm exterior. I need to be with someone who makes me feel alive again. I've tried, but..." She trailed off. I didn't interrupt. I let her speak. In that moment, I realized the full magnitude of her detachment, the silent nights, the avoidance, the cold routines. They weren't about needing space anymore. They were about her choosing someone else. Shock and disbelief twisted through me. I had known something had shifted, but hearing it articulated made the reality bite. The quiet, the absence, the subtle rejections, they weren't random. They were deliberate. And yet, I didn't feel anger. Not yet. I felt a strange clarity. I understood that I couldn't force someone to love me, couldn't demand presence from someone who had chosen absence. It was harsh, it was cruel, but it was truth. That night, I sat on the edge of the bed, watching her pack, and realized how much of myself I had poured into this relationship. The meals, the small gestures, the patience, the hope, they had all been invested into someone who no longer saw me the way I needed to be seen. And the more I understood, the more the weight lifted. Not completely, not immediately, but enough to feel the first spark of self-preservation. Over the next few days, a pattern emerged. Claire would return home late, sometimes bringing him, sometimes alone. The house that had once been ours together became a stage for her new life choices. I didn't confront, didn't accuse, didn't beg. I simply observed, internalizing the lessons in real time. The betrayal wasn't dramatic. It was quiet, cold, almost mundane, but it cut deeper than any shouting match or outright deception ever could. Then came the pivotal moment. One evening, I found myself standing outside the house, watching from the shadows as she and him laughed on the porch, her hand brushing his arm lightly. I could feel the anger rising, the old Ethan who would have stormed in demanding explanations. But instead, I stood still. I realized I didn't need closure from her. The story didn't require her to justify herself. Her choices spoke louder than any words could. That night, I made my own choice. I packed my essentials, clothes, wallet, keys, and left quietly, leaving a note simply stating, "I've given everything I can, now I give myself." I didn't slam doors, didn't yell, didn't create a scene. I drove to my sister's house, where I had always felt safe, always felt understood. The drive was long, the roads empty, but the silence was comforting rather than painful. For the first time in weeks, I breathed freely, without the invisible weight pressing down on me. In the days that followed, I began to rebuild. Small things first, a run in the park, a coffee alone at sunrise, reconnected with old friends. Each action reminded me that life didn't end because someone else had stopped caring. The nights that had once been hers to clear her head became mine to reclaim, filled with quiet reflection, healing, and the slow, steady pulse of self-respect. And eventually, a strange thing happened. I stopped feeling the need to watch, to track, to understand her choices. They were hers, not mine. The betrayal had taught me an undeniable truth. Love cannot be forced, presence cannot be demanded, and respect cannot be assumed. I realized that the nights she spent elsewhere weren't just about her. They were about the way I had allowed my life to orbit someone else's whims. By the end of that month, the house felt different. Empty, yes, but no longer oppressive. The weight was gone. I had given Claire space, and in the process, I had found mine. The clarity was sharp, thrilling, almost shocking in its intensity. I knew now that love and betrayal are intertwined in ways that aren't always dramatic. They're quiet, insidious, and profoundly revealing. And for the first time in a long time, I felt alive, present, and free.